everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here with Painted Studio. I'm happy to be back and be live. I'm going to be waiting a few minutes because I need to see if we're actually live since that didn't go very well the first time. Give me just a second. I'm going to get my iPad so I can tune into myself. Make sure it's showing the way it's supposed to. Woohoo! Oh, the joys. Oh, well, I know I'm showing because I see that there is actually somebody on here actually able to see me. I did a whole live for an hour this morning and then hit post to Facebook and it never posted. I still don't have any idea what happened, and it's the second time that's happened to me this week. So I did this fun unmolding where I showed you all the new stuff I created and how it all came out, and nothing. So I'm going to share with you right now the stuff that I did this morning, and then we're going to turn the camera around to the other side of the table and I'll show you what I'm working on with W.C. Fields. Okay, so this morning I had a million things set out to unmold. So they're already unmolded, but I had wanted to demonstrate how to remove something from this mold, which I did. Hey Cindy, nice to see you here. And obviously that live didn't take. So I'll fill it again and I'll make another crown and I'll show you how we unmold these gorgeous, gorgeous crowns. Now, what I was saying earlier today and what I've said in the past is I tend to like to unmold these things when they've only been sitting in their molds for about 12 to 15 hours. They're soft, you can see I can bend this, but what I like to do, because then it's flexible, if I wanted to, instead of having a perfectly round crown, I could push it in a little bit so we get an oval one, which actually fits most people's heads a little better. Not a big deal though, doesn't have to be done. Then I'm going to flip the camera down now and we're going to see some of the other goodies that I got going on today. I had new molds. Where did I put my new mold? I was going to show with everybody, or did I just throw them all over the place and when I was frustrated earlier? And I'm guessing I got frustrated and threw it somewhere. So one of the new molds we had was an angel wing, and it makes a little dish. So this dish is filled on the outside here with forget-me-nots, and in here where the wing print is lavender, and then I used a gold Shabin type material on the bottom so that you got a little glitter coming through. Then there's this one that I did with rose petals and plum blossoms, and again gold, so we had that one done. This one, I got this mold just cracked me up. The coffin one, and I know everybody wants them for Halloween. Well, they're cute in the summertime, although I will tell you right now, the coffin mold lid does not like to sit in here really well. It wants to be a little uneven, it wants to be a little warped, and it's just the nature of that particular mold, so I play with it to get it to sit in. But this one, you can see I use clear epoxy. I put these are calendula flowers all around here. And then I put gold in the bottom, which I love. And then I use the petals from some more rather beat up calendula on the top. And then I poured gold with it as well, just so I got a lot of shimmer going. This is my fun little favorite. This is the wine caddy. So when you bring somebody a gift, you put the wine, this on the wine bottle. Make sure you can see it. This goes on the wine bottle, and then you put 2 glasses of wine in either side. Now again, I just took this out of the mold, so as you can see, it's really bendy. So when you take things like this out of the mold, if you wanted them to dry flat, you have to set them down on a flat surface and let them finish curing. Almost every epoxy I've ever worked with comes to a full hard cure in 72 hours. So that will happen with these. I cast this little bat face, which is so cute. Again, I've got Halloween stuff, but I'm going summer with them, so it's kind of fun. I put a little gold metal powder on there, and I put a chrysanthemum and gold Shabin in here again, or Tamisay flakes. And then I made some pens. that have plum blossoms and what else is in here? Plum blossoms and calendula petals. And then I also used, again, the gold. Same here. This one has, which is this got? This has got some jasmine and some rosebuds and gold, and that's cute. And then this one we did plum blossoms, lilies, little something else I can't remember, like cherry blossoms or something. And then again, we did more of the gold. So it makes those pens super pretty. Now, you see me oftentimes casting small stuff, but I do bigger things too. I found these dried oranges in a store. So the first thing I did is I put the oranges in the plate, in the mold, and then actually what I did first was I put a little epoxy clear into the mold, set the oranges down in it, then poured clear and let it cure overnight. And then I came and did a second layer with the gold and metallics in there. And what that did was allow for a thicker pour, fewer bubbles, and then it allowed me to get a nice clear pour with my oranges. Now, if you look at close to these, you'll see bubbles in there. And I love that. I think that looks cool. Now, if you don't like bubbles, then maybe putting something like orange slices that have funny pockets isn't your best option. But I also made them into coasters. Love these. I think these are so cute. Now, because sometimes something like the orange can be thick on the back, doesn't come down all the way. It's 100% epoxy, but what I'm going to do is under the orange, I'm going to put some little discs to raise this up so it sits better on the surface and doesn't wobble at all. But look how cute these are. I'm very happy with my epoxy pours right now. I got some other things curing, floating around, waiting for them to get hard to see if they're any good. I'm not sharing those until I know what I've got going right here. And if they're not going right, I'm not sharing them. All right, let's flip this up. Okay, so those were the pours that I made today. Sorry, the crayon was cooking, and here's me and my pink crown. I'm feeling very queen today. So we're gonna flip everything around, go to the other side of the table where I have all my tools that I was working with on WC. Give me a second, and if you get motion sickness, don't watch this part while I swing everything around. It's amazing the stuff you can see in my studio when I just turn a camera around. All right, let's get these lights over here so I can see. So right here in front of me, so I'm getting nothing but my stomach right now. Aren't you lucky you get to look at my stomach in an apron? Okay, so one of my commissions right now is W.C. Fields. This came into me, this is plaster. This bottom part is unpainted, and this is how it came to me. So, getting anything that's detail about W.C. Fields is not easy. I literally spent an hour today trying to find out what color his eyes were. Everything I was able to see, colorized pictures, etc., they used blue. That's fine. That's what I'm going to have to go with because that's the only option I have. And getting some information about his background. He was Irish. So blue eyes make sense, and he's probably got a mid-tone hair, although as you can see, I've started the underlayers of hair that he was very gray by the end. So most of the pictures will show him very light gray hair here, and then the deeper color in back. And, you know, they use stuff like pomade and things on their hair that made it very shiny and kind of muddled the color on it. But that's not, you know, that's not important. We'll work with that. Now, I've done a little bit on his face besides the color. You can see I worked on his nostrils a little bit. I put a little shadow in around his eyes and in his crease, but that's not where we're going. That's just sort of blocking some stuff in. I have to go and look at pictures, see what his eyebrows look like. I need to do a little more research on his clothes. Frankly, for me, the biggest challenge is figuring out how and if I want to shadow the wrinkles in here because I'm working on a dimensional surface with very solid colors. So I'm gonna work on a little bit. Right now, what I'm gonna share with you is how I do some of the hair technique. All right, I'm gonna roll it over on its stomach, which it doesn't wanna stay. It wants to roll otherwise, and I have to be very careful about the rolling because again, this is plaster, so you don't want it to roll and chip. If this rolls off on me the wrong way, it'll go on the floor and I will have a very unhappy customer. All right, so let me go reach over here, grab my brushes. Ooh, everything went flying all over the floor. Everything that I need, of course. What else would it be? All right. Now, I've got a little palette of paint set down here next to me. The colors that I've been using, colors I will continue to use. I'm gonna hold it up like this. We have Set Coat White, Set Coat Gravel Gray, Set Coat Charcoal Gray, Set Coat Faux Cream Color, and Asphaltum Transoxide, Set Coat Regular Red. That is Set Coat Black. This is Set Coat, not Set Coat, Faux Cream Color Asphaltum Transoxide. This is Faux Cream Color Yellow Ochre, and Set Coat Coral. Now it's kind of a weird palette, but I needed first of all, I needed something where I could create skin cones. And the coral actually has a nice pink fleshy kind of color to it, although it's very pink. So I've added some of the Asphaltum Transoxide and Yellow Ochre colors, sorry, I forgot what the colors were, to the coral set coat, and got a very realistic kind of flesh color on there. Now, obviously, there's not a lot of shadows. I haven't done any colors on his face or his lips or his eyes. I got to get my airbrush out and work on that too. But that's not what's happening today. So what I'm going to start with today, we'll flip this down. Now, oops, sorry. So what I've done is what I call underblocking of color. And most people who paint stuff like this, you have to have solid colors or undercoatings to build upon. So I started building his gray hairs and his dark hairs with a combination of black, charcoal gray, gravel gray, and white set coats. But you can see it's really brushy looking, and that's not where we're going with that. So next is to come in with the rest of the colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of, I've got a very fine liner brush. I'm going to take a little Asphaltum Transoxide, and I'm just coming in here. And I tend to do some really, really fine strokes. Now, I've looked at his photographs, so I was clearly looking at how his hair wraps around his head. And so to make it realistic, you've got to put in a lot of strokes in here. Because I don't want this to all look like a black and white movie. So putting some brown in here before I put in some more gray will make this much more realistic looking. Now, most men had very short stippled hair in the back, cut short, or it was all cut to one length. Given the period, I'm not quite sure. And again, photographs of him at the time did not offer me a whole lot of direction because they're all in black and white and you don't get great angles, and then you see the colorized ones and they're blurred. So there is some artistic license that's happening with this. Okay, let's get back here. Try not to roll WC off the table. All right. And I'm just brushing in these lines of color because, again, hair is also not one tone unless you're using box dyes and just coloring your hair solid. And the men at this period used to put things like hair pomade in and Brill cream and all that, macassar oils. By the way, if you ever had an aunt who had lace anti-macassars on her chairs, it's because the gentlemen put hair oil in, and if they leaned back against the chairs, they'd stain the upholstery. So ladies always had these little lace things all over the backs of chairs to keep hair oil off of their furniture, preserve their furniture. And actually, I kind of enjoy doing hair because I enjoy the looseness and the fun of it. And it's not like I have to paint his hair blowing in the wind. He's sitting still, standing, you know, it's a statue. It's not even looking like it's going in direction of air. It's just molded onto his head. So now I have to find a way to give him some depth. Okay, let me get a little bit right here. Now, my client did not give me any direction on colors of the clothing. He did not pick out any specific favorite WC moment that he wanted immortalized, so that's why I'm just choosing my own. Okay, so now I've put in all that brown. I'm coming back in with the charcoal gray, but I'm only gonna come in with the charcoal gray in the back because that's where his hair was darker from the photographs that I've been able to see. And also the fine lines, you want them to cover up that implication of those bigger, heavier brush marks that I put in there before. You don't want to see those. You want to make them sort of disappear. Yeah, and that's supposed to be undercoloring. That's not supposed to be the main focus. Now I'm going to come down here at the hairline to make sure everything's nice and neat. Because gentlemen would often go to the barber weekly for a shave and their haircut. So they always, you know, that was the period. I think W.C. Fields died in the late 40s. Maybe a little later. I'm not sure. I'd have to check the dates of all the things I paid attention to. It was not his date of film career. Okay, take that, wet it down a little bit. Then we're going to take a little of this charcoal gray, and again, we're just going to come here lightly into the areas where his hair was lighter that I was able to see from the photographs, which would be at his temples and behind his ears. And then I'm going to put some white in there. And I am actually blending wet on wet here. I'm not waiting for things to dry. I find I get a nice result that way. And I'll come back and have to do more on his hair. Just because after a while there's too much damp paint and I still have to build up some more details. Okay, there's that side. And the nice thing with the hat and the ear here, I can roll this and do the other side and absolutely not mess up the other side. Whoopsie, that's the wrong side of the paint. So I'm going back in again with the charcoal gray over here. And then down the back of his ear. Not charcoal, with the gravel gray. I need the lighter of the grays. And you notice I'm not even washing out my brush that much. Again, if I'm doing wet blending, I don't need it to be dry. Okay, so now I'm gonna go this way. Now I did paint in a little bit of the white of the eye. As you can see, his eyes are teeny, teeny, teeny. You know, very small compared to the rest of the figure. So the one thing I wanna do is come in here with a light gray. His eyes are blue, but most blue eyes read a little on the gray side. So I'm gonna come in and paint the iris gray first, and then I'm going to come back over it with blue. Now, sometimes things are a little harder to do than you'd think because not only am I dealing with the molding, plaster texture is not exactly smooth all the time either. So, I'll take that off. Now, I take a little bit bigger brush, take a little of this, a little tiny bit here. I just take the coral sometimes and put a little tiny bit of earth brown in it. So you can see it's just a little darker over here than what I had on his face. So I need to do a little detailing. So I just want to color a little bit darker, and that's not quite dark enough. I want a little bit darker to go in here and to go under here, like a shadow, and to go in the cleft of his chin. Let's make that cheek little thing, that a little shadow in the cheek I made a little softer, a little soften these marks. Again, I'm doing watery layers, so while it looks like I might be whiting stuff out, actually all I'm doing is softening it. That'll give it a more realistic appearance of shadow. Okay, let's get my little brush here. Get in here, got a little crease on the nose. And this stuff can take time because you have to just build up the color. It's not like you go in, dip it once, it's all gone, you're fine, it's all, okay, let's move on to the next thing. No, that's not how this works. You have to build up your layers of color to give a more realistic look. I also have to pay attention that it's not so watery that it runs where it's not supposed to go. Okay, let's go back into the ears. Let's get that a little bit of shadowing under the ear. Okay, so we're gonna let him rest, let his face set, and I think I'm gonna call it done for the day. I'm so glad you were all here with me. I'm so sorry I missed you earlier today. I have no idea why. It's the second time in like a week that that's happened where the Facebook didn't connect and I just disappeared. Like it didn't, I saved the video, posted it, just disappeared. So thank you for coming back with me this afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great Friday, everyone. Bye-bye.